In this training, I'm going to show you how to create more engagement with your club by creating badges and checklists. This is something that's totally extra and optional, but it's a fun way to encourage your members to get more involved. First thing you're going to do is go to your group where you can see your officer dashboard. I'm using the club leader cohort because it's the group where I've created badges and checklists. Both of these items are purple. There are tracks and checklists, which create a list of requirements and track completions, and badges reward your users with custom badges. We're going to start with checklists. The best example of a checklist is this training. So we have multiple checklists that are happening. Mandatory Club Leader Training 24-25. You all should be familiar with what this looks like. When you click on it, you've got a list of different things that you need to complete. And then on your page, you'll see a submit form button, and you'll submit a form to complete this checklist. Once you submit those forms and they get approved, this checklist will be checked off, and then you'll have like 100% completion at the end. So that's what a checklist is. There's different options for what you can do to create that checklist. The optional club leader training, which you're on right now, is another checklist that we have. So if you want to create a checklist of tasks that your members should complete in order to be trained or complete a badge or something like that, you click on Create Checklist and you name your checklist. So let's say Active Club Member is what we're going to create a checklist for. So goals to become an active club member. So we're going to put our description here. I'm just going to type something in. Make sequential means that they have to do the items in order. Ordering just means where it's going to show up in your checklist page. If ordering is 1, it shows up at the very top of your checklist page. You can assign it to certain people in your group. You can assign it only to your group members. You can assign it to some members specifically. You can assign it only to your officers if there's extra training that your officers needs to do. But you can choose all of that of who can see it. For example, the mandatory club leader training is selected for group members only. So only people who are part of the club leader cohort group, those club officers, can see it. Make checklist visible to assignees. Yes, you definitely want it to be visible. And then you can do a start and end date if you would like to as well, where they have to complete it by a certain date. If you don't, just leave it blank. Click on save and that creates your new checklist. Here it is up here. It looks very blank. We can choose different tracks. So the only example I have a track is club leadership. Everyone here is in the club leadership track, but I could create a totally different track for a different group of people if I wanted to, or a different type of training, and it would show up on that. So it's just a way to organize your lists. So once I've created my list, I want to click on the name of the list to add checklist items. So right now there's nothing on here that you have to do. I'm going to click Create Item. So this is a step that you have to do. So let's say to become an active member, I'm going to say attend a club meeting. That's the first step you have to do to be an active member. I'm not going to put a completion deadline on here. And I'm not going to allow the user to check it because we can verify if they've attended a club meeting by checking into an event. And you can decide if it's optional or not. So right now they can't check it off on their own and it's not optional. They have to do it in order to complete this checklist. Now I'm going to add a completion rule. So what do they actually have to do? So in order to check this off, a user has to, and here's the rules that you can choose from. The standard rules are register for an event, register and check into an event, check out of an event, which most people don't have people checking out of an event, becoming a group officer, becoming a group member, submitting a certain survey or form, taking a quiz, creating an experience, booking a meeting, attending a virtual fair, which we don't have those. There's also other ones that are more advanced, like completes a track. Like, so for example, if you complete the entire track of the club leadership, then you could get this checked off. Completing a checklist, earning a badge, winning points, sending an email, and this list goes on and on. So you can look at these different actions that people can take in order to meet this requirement. So for this one, attending a club meeting, I'm going to say that they register for and check into an event. I can select a specific event tag or event type or a specific event. So if I have created a specific event, then I can select that event. I should be able to apply the completion rules to any item. So if I say you just have to go to an event, I can leave this blank. So if the event is involvement fair, I'm just going to choose involvement fair because that is an event that I know exists. But if we're specifically saying go to a club meeting, then you would want to select an event that is one of your club meeting events that you've created. And then you can say at least one time. They have to go to a meeting and check in at least one time. You can also add a reflection for that event. We're not going to do that. We're just going to say you have to go to a club meeting. Let's add another item. Something else that you need to do is become a member. You need to actually be on the roster. So in order to become a member, the completion rule is going to be, well, it was somewhere, becomes a group member, where specific group, you want to choose your group that you're doing it in, right? So we're doing club leader cohort. So if they become a member of my group one time, which really that's the only thing that makes sense for this one, then we click save. So if they are on the roster, they have checked that off. You can create another item. So you can say submits a club survey. Let's say we're giving a survey to all of our club members of like what they want to do for the year. So let's say they have to submit a survey. For the completion rule, we would select submits a survey or form. And then we can select a specific survey and we can choose whichever survey that we want to do. For example, that survey. And they have to submit it one time. So we've built a pretty simple checklist to complete this active club member checklist. The person would need to become a member of the club, which means based on our completion rule, they need to be listed on the roster. They need to attend a club meeting. Based on our completion rule, there is a specific meeting or a specific type of event, like something that's marked as a meeting that they have to attend and check into. When they do that, they get marked off on that. Submit a club survey. So if there's a specific form that they need to submit, you can tie that form to it and do that. If it's not a specific form, you can just say any form that's on there. If they submit it, then they're good. So that's all you need to do to create your checklist. You need to make sure that there's a completion rule for each thing. You can also batch check off items for people, add a sub item if there's like an extra task to that. When you click on back, you will now see the things that people need to do and the completion. So if you click on completion, you can see all of the people in your group and you can see the percentage that they have completed. So if you want to keep track of who has gotten what, then you can do that. You want to make sure it's visible to your assignees so they can see it and complete it. So in order to find those checklists after it's been assigned to people, they can go to My Activity, My Checklists, and you'll see there's a new one right here with three things that they need to do. So they can click on that, and this is what it looks like to the person who is completing it. So I'm already a member of a group, of the group that I selected, so I'm already 33% complete. Submitting the form, I can click to submit the form. Attend a club meeting, I can click on view events. So they can complete the checklist there. This is the same way that you complete your club leader training. The other part that we're going to look at is we're going to go back to our group dashboard, and we're going to look at our badges. So badges are really fun because they are just kind of like an extra little thing that you can award people for completing things such as checklists. So the badges that I have created within the Club Leader cohort group are, if you get your club active for the year, I give you a badge. So these are for last year's. We got 41 clubs who got active last year. We also have an in good standing badge. So if you got your club in good standing last year, I awarded you this badge. We had 18 groups get into that standing. And then if you complete all of your club training, then you get this badge. Note that there are group badges and user badges. You probably won't be using group badges too much because you don't manage different groups, but you can create user badges for individual people. So let's create a new badge. We're going to create a badge active member because we created a checklist that was called the same thing. So once those people complete that checklist, we want to give them a little badge for doing it. So we're going to put the description, complete the active member checklist. Badge icon, you're going to choose an icon for this. You can either upload something, or there are a lot of free icons that you can use by clicking on free icons, and you can find a lot of fun little colorful icons. So for being an active club member, let's see, there's a lot of like money on here. Here's someone who's being social. We're going to choose that one for being an active club member. Maximum number of times someone can earn this badge. So you can set it at 1, or they can earn it as many times as they want. You can add to profile, LinkedIn button, private badge, group badge, etc. So you might want to make it private if you care about that. You probably won't make it a group badge. And then save. So we've created our badge. Now we need to create, like, what do you do to complete that badge? So for completion rule, we're going to say a user, in order to earn this, a user has to do what? They need to complete a checklist. And the checklist they need to complete is a specific one, and it's the active club member checklist that we just created. And they have to complete it at least one time. So if a student goes through that checklist, they become a member of the team, they fill out a form, and they check into a meeting, then they are going to complete the checklist, and they're automatically going to be added an active member badge to their profile. You'll notice that these badges here don't have a completion rule because the rules that were here, I couldn't find something that fit specifically. So what I do for these is I just go into here and I manually award this to people or groups. So you can also do that if you want to keep track of something, but it's really great to set a completion rule so that once they've completed those steps within Hawk Nest, they automatically get that badge. These badges show up on people's profiles. So if you take a look at someone's profile, like someone in your group, let's see what badges I have. So I have 12 badges. A lot of these badges are just within the system that we didn't even create. They just kind of show up there. But it says what it is and what you've done to create it. So for example, Party Planner Level 1. I've gotten it for this group. You've created 5 events and kicked off some great times for everyone. So this is for creating events. Elected officer. If I'm listed as an officer of a certain number of groups, there's some different levels on here. So these are all badges that you can get that are kind of built into the system, and you can create your own badges for your own group to add more things. For example, hospitality and tourism management, they created a badge for meeting a 40-hour limit of service or for your club. So once you've met that, they go in and they award this fun badge to people. That's how you create badges and checklists for your team members. If you want more information or a one-on-one walkthrough, just contact me, Jess Haywood, and I'm happy to train you more.